now that Manafort and Rick Gates, his protege and associate, have been indicted, 12 counts against Manafort, and now that we know George Papadopoulos, a campaign official for Donald Trump, has already turned evidence against him, let us now check the temperature of Donald Trump's Twitter account, where it's gotta be, well, let's put it this way, climate change is finally in effect over there. So before the Papadopoulos news, here's Trump raging over the weekend, knowing that an indictment is coming, and at the time it was under seal. He said, never seen such Republican anger and unity as I have concerning the lack of investigation on Clinton-made fake dossier. Now $12 million. Okay, I'll get to why he keeps bringing up Hillary Clinton in a second. Then he goes on to say, the uranium to Russia deal, the 33,000 plus deleted emails, the Comey fix, and so much more. Instead, they look at phony Trump-Russia collusion, he puts in air quotes, which doesn't exist. The Dems are using this terrible and bad for our country witch hunt for evil politics. But the Republicans are now fighting back like never before. There's so much guilt by Democrats / Clinton, and now the facts are pouring out. And then big, bold capital letters, do something! It's one of my favorite cries for help I've ever heard on Twitter. Donald Trump screaming in agony, do something! Okay, so why is he screaming about Hillary Clinton when the Russian investigation has nothing to do with Hillary Clinton? Maybe he thinks it's inconceivable that he won, and he just can't believe it, like the rest of us. Like he wakes up every morning like, really, I'm president? Shouldn't Hillary be president? Let's investigate her. Okay, not likely. The real answers are, number one, of course he wants to distract you. That's obvious, right? Squirrel, okay. But the more important part of the answer is, they are later going to make the claim, and in fact, today it has begun. Well, Robert Mueller was the head of the FBI during the Obama administration when the Uranium One deal was done. So I don't know, maybe Mueller's biased. I mean, I'm not getting rid of him because he's doing the investigation against me. No, we had to get rid of him because he didn't do the investigation about Hillary Clinton years and years and years ago. That is why all of a sudden I'm outraged that he didn't do that investigation. No, they are setting it up as an excuse to fire Robert Mueller. If he is fired, Trump should be impeached immediately. Look, if you'd like to start an investigation on something that went wrong 6 years ago, that's an interesting conversation to have, and one we should have as alongside this one. And I think the Uranium One deal, I'm not with other progressives in the media. I think the Uranium One deal was problematic, but Hillary Clinton is not president. She didn't win. She's incredibly irrelevant. I don't even know if the statute of limitations ran on it. If you want to go back and investigate that, whatever. But that has nothing to do with Robert Mueller's current investigation of Donald Trump, which is of course the reason why Donald Trump is in an absolute panic. So now this he had said back in June, so he began this theme as the investigation was picking up steam. I don't know if he knew that Papadopoulos was going to turn evidence at that point, but he said, you are witnessing the single greatest witch hunt in American political history, led by some very bad and conflicted people. #MAGA. So even back then he was like, Mueller, conflict of interest. I mean, he didn't do the thing against Hillary, so that's why when he finds out evidence, hardcore evidence that people on my campaign did tax evasion, money laundering, had clear ties to the Russians, and wanted me to meet with the Russians. That's some of the things we learned out from the Papadopoulos case. No, don't worry about any of that. Mueller, conflict of interest. I gotta get rid of him. He's got the evidence. I gotta get rid of him. His panic gives you a sense of how connected Trump was to all this. Because the Manafort evidence, so far the things that have been presented in public are largely against Manafort and Rick Gates and their ties to Russian oligarchs. It is, as I stated earlier in the show, it is possible that Trump did not know anything about that, and he could just say, hey, listen, man, these guys were apparently trying to pay back a $19 million thing they had with the oligarchs. It has nothing to do with me, and I'm outraged by it. I can't believe that they potentially put my campaign in trouble. He's not saying that. Instead, he's saying, I gotta get rid of Mueller, I got to get rid of him. Uranium One, Benghazi dossier. I don't know. I'm panic. If you didn't do it, why are you in such a cold-sweated panic over it? So now he finds out about Papadopoulos and all the things that happened this morning, and he gets even more crazed. He says, all this Russia talk, right, when the Republicans are making their big push for historic tax cuts and reform, is this coincidental? Not. You're a child. He's the president. Can you believe he's the president? And he's saying things like, not. And it's not how it works anyway. You're not supposed to ask the question and then scream not. You're supposed to say, coincidental? Not. I have to teach him these things. Okay, anyway. What a child, what an unbelievable petulant child, and also guilty. All right, and by the way, the other reason for that tweet is, hey, rich people, all my donors and all the people in charge and powerful, remember, I'm gonna give you tax cuts. I'm trying to give you tax cuts. Don't throw me away yet. Okay, and he goes on to say, sorry, but this is years ago, before Paul Manafort was part of the Trump campaign. Why aren't Crooked Hillary and the Dems the focus? I'm going to say for the billionth time now, because Hillary Clinton is not president. She doesn't have any power. She's wandering around in the woods. Your attempt at distraction has no subtlety. So it looks absurd. You're too, frankly, unintelligent to realize that, but you think just screaming squirrel louder will do the trick. No, it makes everyone realize that you're screaming squirrel and that you want them to be distracted from the thing that we're supposed to be looking at. You're making it more obvious, which is usual for Donald Trump because he's not that bright. And his last tweet is a great example of that. And it goes with ... Also, there's no collusion. He capitalized, there's no collusion. If you weren't sure Donald Trump was involved before, after the tweets, you become more sure. Counterproductive as usual. Really, Trump supporters? You think he's screaming from the rooftops about Hillary, stop the dossier, no collusion, because he's not at all worried? Perhaps he knows something that you Trump supporters don't, which is that he did it. If you like the Young Turks, you'll love Young Turks membership. TYTnetwork.com/join.